Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Hello, friends. This is Kurt Ritchie, your Encounter Life host, inviting you to join us today as we have a special guest with us in our Sunset Corner studio. I have been very much looking forward to the opportunity to talk with Jahzzy Gonzales, the music minister at Encounter Church in Wildwood, Florida. Jahzzy is a gifted musician, a co-worker in ministry, and most of all, he is my friend. In just a few moments, Jahzzy and I are going to jump into the very deep waters of Christian music. We have many differences, he and I, and there is for sure a generational difference. I'm old enough to be his grandparent. He is Puerto Rican, and I'm a white kid from the American Midwest. How's that for a difference? Yet we share a kindred heart for the Lord and a deep passion for the music of the church. So, thanks, friends, for being a part of this moment as we discuss music within the church today. Welcome, Jazz, to Encounter Life. I am so happy to have you behind the microphone today as together we discuss what has forever been and will always be not only one of the most wonderful and blessed elements of the Christian life, but one of the most polarizing issues as well. That is the subject of music.
Hello, this is Jahzzy Gonzales. First, I want to just say thank you to Pastor Ritchie for having me on this Encounter Life podcast, and it's an honor, and I'm very grateful, and I also want to say hi to the ones that will be listening.
Very good. And again, it's really great to have you share these moments with us. Let's take a few minutes at the very beginning for our listeners to get to know you. If you would, tell us a little bit of your story. Who is Jahzzy Gonzales? Tell us about your family, your background.
Yeah, man. So people call me Jahzzy Gonzales. My first name is actually Daniel Jahzzy Gonzales. Reason why people call me Jahzzy is because a friend of mine found out I could play instruments and decided to just call me that. I'm from Lorain, Ohio. I come from a family of ministers, a Hispanic family that were born and raised in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Lorain, Ohio. And yeah, man.
Very good. What about your love for music? How does your background play into your love for music?
Yeah, so I come from a family of preachers, pastors, and there's also musicians. Grew up seeing most of my cousins on instruments, singing and stuff like that. Never thought that I'd be a musician. It wasn't my plan, wasn't, my idea. But I fell in love with music when the day I turned 13.
Wow. When did you pick up your first instrument?
It was actually a drum set for
Wow.
my church. Yeah, my dad was a pastor of a small church, and we were in need of musicians, and so I picked up a couple drumsticks, and that was my first path.
And that was a very natural feel for you? I mean, you just picked up the sticks and started playing.
Yeah, picked up the sticks, went on YouTube, and just studied how drummers play and how drumming to worship is very different than secular music, and that's how my journey began.
We probably could spend a whole episode on that. What's the difference? But you say there's a difference. What about it is different?
I'd say the style. I'd say the feel to it. I believe those two are very different to secular. And so something called gospel. And in our Christian world, there's a lot of different styles, but there's always a feel. Can't really explain it, but I call it the Christian feel.
Okay. We're going to get into style here in a minute. And again, that's another kind of a category, an idea behind music that I think is worthy of exploration, at least in a setting like this. We'll get to that in a second. Lots of people love music. I think there is just something, we're hardwired, where our DNA is set for music. But few are called to lead people to praise and worship the Lord through music. Talk to us for a minute about this. How and when did you begin to know that the Lord was calling you to music ministry specifically, and even leading music in the church?
Yeah. So I was about the age of 14 where I found out that I can sing. Didn't know I had that gift. I thought I was just a little drummer boy. And so found out that I can sing, and I actually started worshiping on the drum set. My dad invested into a head mic. It was a pretty small church, and so we didn't have a lot of singers and stuff like that. So he when we found out that I can sing, he invested into that, and I was leading worship for the first time on a drum set. That all started from a service where they called up all the kids of my age, and they were declaring stuff over their lives, prophesying things over their lives, and I never got the chance to get that. And so it all started when I went home, and without believing in this thing called Christianity and God, I said, if you are real, just give me something. And the moment that I prayed that's when I fully stepped into what it's called worship music.
Wow. Well, interesting. Talk to us about your come to Jesus moment. When did Jesus become your Savior, and how did that?
That was my late 16s. I left the church for a little bit. I had an incident where I had an outer body experience, had an encounter with Jesus, but didn't really know. And a couple months later, I ended up going back to church for Father's Day. And going to church, when you go to a Hispanic church, you should expect them to call you to the front after they haven't seen you for a while. And I told my dad, your buddy pastor better not call my name. And at the end of the preaching, he felt God really speaking to him about me, and he had to cut the message and he had tears in his eye and called me to the front. And that was the day that I encountered Christ into my life.
Wow. Let's get to the idea of music in the church. There are few things that can happen within a church that foster such radically passionate opinions as can the matter of music. There's a long list of church-related issues which can stir up controversy. I think of things like the temperature of the sanctuary and the length of the pastor's sermon, even controversy about what kind of coffee is being served in the cafe. There's more than enough issues for the church to find something to disagree about. But music truly is in its own unique category. Some churches don't believe in using instruments. To use instruments in worship, in some places, is considered wrong. In those churches, everything is sung a cappella. I've actually had an opportunity to preach in a church that doesn't use instruments. And wow. I, going into it, thought, man, this is really going to be weird. But I will tell you, that church can sing like I've never heard any church sing. I mean, it's like everybody is in the choir, and it sounds like it. It was absolutely glorious. In the Amish church, it is not considered appropriate at all to sing a harmony part
Wow.
If you go in and you're singing an alto or a tenor part, that's considered wrong. You'd be told not to do that. They believe that that's drawing attention to yourself. The only reason you would do it is to draw attention to yourself. For me personally, I have the gift of harmony. I hear it, I sing it naturally. I will tend to sing a harmony part before I'll sing a lead line, just because that's what my head hears. So I guess I wouldn't last long there. Music stirs something in each of us that is deeply personal. I refer to music as the third rail of the church, touching music, changing it in any way whatsoever. Sometimes just talking about it can stir up controversy. However, with cautious consideration of that risk, we're going to talk today about the good, the bad, and the ugly of church music ministry. Talk to us, Jazz, for a moment about your journey with church music, and perhaps share with us about what styles of music move you, minister to you, and why. What styles trigger you?
Yeah. I'm a very big fan of gospel. Gospel moves me when it comes to the way it is vocally, the way it is musically. But when it comes to like real worship, I think what moves me is a song that's just really filled with God, and a song that exalts God.
Wow. Interesting. That using that kind of terminology even is causing me to think. Obviously, all music has a style.
Yep.
You've talked about that. Even within specific genres of music, there are stylistic preferences: jazz, rock, country. There is a musical event that happens in Detroit once a year for one night only. It's an event where they take Handel's Messiah and they redo that and it's beautiful. Orchestra singing, choir, music all coming together, but they redo Handel's Messiah with different styles. They blend Baroque music with jazz, with rock, and it is absolutely fabulous. And at the end of it, there are people in the Fox Theater in Detroit are dancing in the aisles, and it's absolutely fabulous how they do this fusion of styles, and so that mixture, that different styles, even within a genre, that's what it would be within Christian music. How do you? Because style is a controversy.
Yep.
How do you handle, or how do you address those who would argue that there is a style that is better, that there is this sort of, this is the appropriate style and that one isn't? How do you do that? How do you address that?
It's everybody's different, especially in church. Church is very different. And I wouldn't be able to really explain it to them. I would just show them. God has allowed me to play in different type of churches, like different experiences. And I think it's just about learning to adapt to anything. A lot of people, they receive Jesus in many different ways. And so just really learning how to adapt into the culture of the church.
Would you agree that, for me, I don't think that there's a superior style.
Yeah.
I think that depending on where you're at in the world, style is what it is. It's local. It is local within geography, and it is local even within cultures within a geographic area.
Yeah.
It is different. For me to go into, I'm trying to think of some place, any other place in the world, and try to insist upon a style that might fit in a Southern Baptist church in Illinois, in San Salvador, Ecuador, that might not be, to try to insist
Yeah.
this is the style and you must adapt. I'm not in favor of that. I think we need to be very careful to understand there's not a superior style.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think it might be easier to say, wait a minute, this is inappropriate. This doesn't work. There's something about this that doesn't fit. With that thought in our mind, when you listen to music, I want to dig deeper into this. How do you decide not just what songs make it into the list on any given Sunday, but you've got a master list of songs for Encounter Church?
Yeah.
Do you ever hear a song or maybe a style of a particular song and you go, whoa, wait a minute, that one's not going in our list? What would kick it out? Lyrics, style, singability? What would cause Jazz to say, nope, that one doesn't go in the list at this time in this place?
I'd really say lyrics. I love to choose songs that speak about who he is. I like to choose songs that praise him, that thank him, and I like to choose songs that people are able to sing to and declare over their lives. I'm not a big fan of the songs that it's just about more us than him.
When you say us, who are you referring to?
I'd say there's a lot of worship songs that speak more about, the writer speaks more about them than him. I think worship is more about him, especially in church. Choosing a list is really different from a Sunday than a band. And so when I have to pick a list for Sunday mornings and for or Wednesdays and stuff like that, I look for songs that just speak about him, that praise him, that thank him, and things that people can declare over their lives.
Yeah. I hope I don't cause too much mischief with this next question, but on that idea, when you say us, it's more about us. I'm nervous, but I'm going to go ahead. There are some songs in Christian music that the us that you would refer to is the worship team. It is music that is intended for skilled, talented people. It's really suited well for the worship team. It wouldn't minister to the worship team, but it comes out as being more performative, and rather than congregational. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how do we do that? Because it's okay for the worship team to do something that is really suited to showcase what they, and I don't mean showcase in the worldly sense, but I can really enjoy, a dozen people singing and I can just listen. I don't have to sing every song.
No.
How do you balance that?
And when you say balance,
well, on a Sunday morning, let me give you this as an example. Roll the calendar back. For you, impossible. For me, pretty easy. Roll the calendar back 50 years. Churches would have pretty standard format. We're going to sing these songs, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to maybe do some announcements. Maybe we're going to do something, and then Sister Jones is going to come up, and she's going to sing special music. There was a separate moment for an individual, or maybe we're going to have a trio come up and sing a special song. There was a performative moment. And that was standard. That was accepted practice. My observation as the older guy, I believe there is this hesitation in churches today, there's like this danger zone. The worship team can't be performative. Why not? It's my question. It's fine with me if there is a song where they just really lead and power it out, and there's or whatever the style might be, but I can listen to great Christian music, and I can worship the Lord as a listener as much as I can as a participant. And I think there is this maybe an insistence on one or the other that some churches, it's all performative, and congregations, they're eating a donut and drinking a latte while they're listening. There's never any congregational side of it. And then in some churches, it's all congregational singing, and we don't dare allow the worship team to do their thing. Talk to me about that.
I'd say, man, that excellence to God is very important, and I believe that performing is very important.
Yes.
But it gets to a place of worship when you're a true worshiper and I've asked myself this in my alone time, who am I performing for? The reason why I ask myself that is because when you really look at worship, worship is obedience, meaning we are obeying somebody or something. Mm-hmm. And so when I get on stage on Sunday and the whole time I'm like, man, we got to give our everything. We got to perform our best. I have to come home and in my secret time ask myself, who am I performing for? Performance and excellence is very important, but a lot of times, especially when you're a gifted worshiper, a gifted musician, because when you're drumming, you're worshiping.
Yes.
And there's a lot of drummers that are very good. And so I think it's very important, if you love Christ, if you really love to worship God, it gets to a place of, who am I performing to? And when I ask that, am I doing it for me? Is my pride creeping in? And when I ask myself that is when I see when I really feel that I didn't move God's heart. That's when that question comes in for me.
When you're leading worship and praise at Encounter Church, if there is a moment where God's people are just listening, listening to the music, listening to the Holy Spirit, listening to God stir their heart, does that throw you off? Is there a moment where you go, wait a minute, they're not singing, we're doing something wrong? Or do you accept that as a moment where God is moving among people and the value of what we're doing here is not based exclusively on the volume of what's coming from the congregation? Is that okay with you as a worship leader?
That's completely okay. Completely okay.
I enjoy your response. I really do. I want to look at another characteristic of Christian music. I've got a couple more ideas I'd like to explore with you. Some songs are what I call rally songs. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but that's what I call them. You and I have talked about this issue. Israel Houghton's "You Are Good," Lord, You Are Good. That's a great example of what I call a rally song. When I hear even the introduction to that song, I am ready to go. Man, I am now. I go from 0 to 100 really, really quick when I hear that song, just those opening chords. That song hits me in a very special way. And then there are other songs such as, and let's talk about one we've been singing a lot at Encounter Church lately, I Exalt Thee. That is what I would call a devotional song. It is a song that I need. That's a song that I need in times of prayer and worship. Recently at Encounter Church, just even a couple of weeks ago, the entire song list featured songs that were devotional, deeply spiritual, almost meditative. It was, for me, it was absolutely awesome. That day, a rally song would have just not struck me the same. I needed a Sunday where I just was in that devotional framework of my heart. How do you know, and when do you know, to lead the church into times of the rally songs, the excited praise? or into quietness and a stillness of worship where the music's involved, but but it's different. How do you do that?
Man, the way that being led, man, by the Spirit, it may sound cringe.
No, it's not.
But just there's times where we've been on stage and literally just sitting on the piano.
Yeah.
I'd hear a voice telling me change the song.
That's so sweet.
To a specific song, and I'm like, what am I tripping? And when I change the song, man, it's all about being led, man.
That's to me the perfect answer. How else could you possibly do it? It's not about a set list.
Yeah.
That there can be, and I think, and I speak from experience now, from that and that doesn't make me good. I've got a lot of years. Sometimes it shifts. The Lord shifts, and we had no plan, no way to see it coming. And because the people, there's something that happens in a gathering, and suddenly there's just a move, and you got to move with it, and be okay with that.
Yes.
That's hard. And then you get the person, I didn't get that at all, but that's okay. That's okay. The Lord was moving, and this is where we were supposed to go. All right. There's an idea, and you touched on it at the very beginning when we were talking about what you're looking for when you hear a song. Is this a song that works great on the radio, but it would never work in church because it's designed for, for professional singers or whatever. Yeah. There is this idea, I call it singability. This is a big deal for me. I don't know about everybody else, but singability permeated every part of church music ministry for at least the first half of my life. In the 1980s, there was a shift that happened, and I was there. I saw it happen. It was during the charismatic outpouring, late 70s, early 80s, during what I would call, in the 1970s even, what I would call the Willow Creek shift. Willow Creek Church changed things. And that's a bigger conversation for another podcast episode. But the Willow Creek shift happened. New music was pouring into the church. And it may have been new music, but much of it retained a quality that had characterized Christian music for hundreds of years. It was a quality that I would call singability. It was music that was intended to be sung by congregations of people. The song, I Exalt Thee, was one such song. I Exalt Thee was written over a period of 18 months by Peter Sanchez, who began that song, writing it in 1976. It was not until 1983 that the song would explode in popularity as a result of a collaboration between a musician and singer Phil Driscoll. And I don't know if you've ever heard him or not. If not, you're going to have to follow that look that up later. Phil Driscoll was a trumpeter, and he had this raspiness to his voice, unique. You knew it the minute you heard his voice. There was nothing else like it. And he and a arranger named Larry Goss, those two got together, and Phil Driscoll's I Exalt Thee album won a Dove Award. He won Best Male Grammy, a nomination for Best Male Singer in a Christian genre. It was hugely popular, and it remains today, even seeing a resurgence in that song, I Exalt Thee. It is my personal opinion, and I'm not looking for agreement here, that there are three qualities that make I Exalt Thee a timeless and a classic song. Number one, it is clearly rooted in the Bible. Psalm 97 was the inspiration for the song, according to Peter Sanchez. Its devotional quality, number two. And third is its singability. Congregations don't stand around. When that song comes up, congregations don't stand around and stare at the lyrics on a screen. Anyone within a minute or two can sing it. Give them a couple of exposures to the song. They've got it memorized. please, I would love to hear your thoughts about how important, I want to focus on this idea, how important is congregational singability to you as a music minister?
It's very important. That's why we try to choose songs that are simple and easy to memorize, and songs, like I said, songs that you can declare over your life. Because a lot of when you're in a growing church, there's a lot of new people coming.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when you throw a song in there like a rally song, not a lot of people respond to that. I believe that people really respond more to the
devotional side.
Yeah. So when I choose songs, I look for songs, like I told you, songs that praise, that thank him, but also that are simple, understandable, and songs that they can memorize, and songs that they can declare over their lives.
There is an element, and to a lesser degree for me, but because of my music gift, whatever we want to call it, and I've been involved in music forever. My entire life has, and Joni's together. I mean, we have together led praise and worship in churches for 40 years.
Wow.
Music, Joni, piano skills, keyboard skills. She was teaching in her teen years. She spent 40 years of her life teaching piano. We're a musical couple, but for me, I also think, and again to a lesser degree, it needs to have, whether a person can sing harmony or not, the harmony parts, there needs to be an easily heard harmonic part to music. Those, I Exalt Thee has it. Songs that are become classics.
Yeah.
All of them don't have complex harmonies. I love, as a singer, I love to dig into a music, a song that's got complex harmonies. I love that. But for congregational singing, there needs to be a clear harmonic. Those chords need to be really connected and positive, and it needs to be in the background of music. I think that's an element, whether it's a big element or not. I think when we look at classic music, what one piece of music today do you think we're going to, and this was, I didn't set you up with this, but is there a song that is very popular today that you believe will be multi-generational, 3 generations from now, people will still be singing it?
I'd say yeah. I'd say I think that we're at a time where I heard Israel Houghton say one time that he wants to write songs that last forever. And I feel like worship is at such a high level that a lot of people are writing songs that are going to last forever.
I hate to put you on the spot, but can you give me one?
Yeah, I'd say Waymaker.
Waymaker?
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There's one that we sing a lot, and here I am embarrassing myself on the podcast. I don't know the title of it, and I should, but there's one, the love of God, that is just, it touches me and it moves me, and I think that song is going to, that was one that there was a worship service a year ago when I was going through a very difficult time, and you guys began to sing that song. It talks about the love of God for me, and it endures, and I just sat there and wept. I couldn't sing a note. That song for me is going to be one, and I apologize to our listeners that I can't think of the title, but there are some keepers out there. There's these multi-generational
Trusting
songs that are going to be there for a long, long time. If you could give, and I want to finish, last question, if there is one piece of advice that you could give to younger individuals that are thinking about God's calling me to lead worship in the church, what's one piece of advice you would give to a young person just starting out?
be ready and willing to surrender.
To
surrender to the will of God, to what He has for you. A lot of times as a musician, because when you're called to worship, man, it's because you have a gift to lead. You have the gift of vocal ability, of playing instruments, and most of the times we have dreams. But when God really calls you, man, sometimes it's a different path.
You have to surrender the dreams.
Yes, be willing and ready to surrender.
Wow. That's so true, because I think about my own situation. I had a very clear idea of how I was going to serve God, and what I ended up doing is dramatically different than that. Yeah. Wow. There's so much more I would love to talk to you about concerning Christian music, but our time is really gone for this episode. Please promise me and our listeners that you'll come back to Encounter Life again. Good. We're going to look forward to it. I'm for sure going to get you back to the microphone. This has been a great episode, and I am so glad that you've all been able to enjoy it with us. Music is such a significant and deeply personal part of the Christian experience, and it is good to have these types of conversations. It is my hope and prayer that you have been encouraged and inspired today. As always, we love to hear your feedback. Join the Encounter Life Facebook group. You can easily find it on the search tab, and leave your comments there, or drop your comments on whatever app you use to listen to Encounter Life. God bless you all. We love you. And remember, one encounter with Jesus can change everything.